what's good, listeners? Welcome to the Chris Collins Show, Millennial Talk Show, Bunker Edition. Marissa and I, we're excited because it's our 100th episode. How's it going, Marissa?
It is going fabulous. I love it. 100 episodes.
Isn't that insane? We can finally say to people, we keep it 100, okay? We keep it 100. It's
We're in the 100 club.
Exactly. And, we always like to start off the show by giving you guys some of these cool historic anecdotes that have happened in the past on this day. So 47 years ago, Kiss released their first album, which is pretty gnarly. And also one of my favorite guitarists, Black Sabbath's Tony Iommi, was born in Birmingham, England today in 1948. And also, I thought this was kind of fascinating for all the soccer fans out there. In 1910, Manchester United played their first game ever. That's pretty wild.
Woo, Man U.
Right? But we've got a great show for everybody because Marissa and I are celebrating our 100th episode by looking back at our favorite moments from the first 8 seasons of the Chris Collins Show, Millennial Talk Show. Also, don't forget to check out our brand new YouTube episode drop featuring Strike a Chord artist, indie pop star, Chloe Wilder. And I also saw she got a huge shout out from MTV this week. So, I mean, kudos to her.
I know.
She's going.
She's on MTV.
That's a big, big deal. But all right, Marissa, it's time to rock and roll. All right, everybody, it's time to wake up because this is hashtag TLDR. Too long, don't read. Marissa and I, we did all the reading for you, so you didn't have to do it. In an article from NPR titled, "Millions Still Without Power as Winter Storm Wallops Texas" by Braxton Booker. Nearly 3 million homes and businesses in Texas remain without power, some for a 4th consecutive day as severe winter weather continues to pummel the state. Some counties have even issued boil water notices and urging residents to reduce their electricity usage. As Republicans blame frozen turbines on progressives pushing for a Green New Deal, Democrats are pointing the finger at Republicans for taking zero accountability when the state's dominant political party has been red since the 1990s. And if there's anything that we've learned this week in Texas, not even Greta Thunberg knows what the climate will look like in the future. So, Marissa, can our politicians please, please stop fear-mongering and bring relief to the American people suffering from this travesty? So what's your thoughts on all this?
Well, I think Ted Cruz stopped doing fear-mongering, seeing as he went to Cancun with his family, and it was not a pre-planned trip. They did it right their cold house, and backlash hit so bad that he flew back the very next morning. He was scheduled to fly back Saturday afternoon. So
I mean, but it's funny that you mentioned that because I know Democrats were calling him out, obviously because he voted against Hurricane Sandy relief. And now that he's asking Biden for help and then goes and takes a vacation to Cancun, maybe he's got the nice orange tan, who knows? Maybe he caught some sun. But let's not use this opportunity, Democrats, just because Ted Cruz is a dumbass then and he's a dumbass now. Let's still bring relief, and let's not play this two political party nonsense, in my opinion. And also, I find
go ahead. Sorry. I'll just say what I found out, which interesting, was they were trying to save money from doing the insulation for the pipelines. And they were investing 10% towards like the Green New Deal and having all that set. But like, who thought Texas would actually freeze? So in a way, it's like they're trying to save money because they're like, well, we're never going to freeze. But now like, oh, snap. I guess we should insulate our pipes.
Yeah, exactly. So, the thing is, heavy snowfall and ice storms and bitter temperatures continue to put enormous strain on the state's power grid, which manage roughly 75% of Texans in the Lone Star State.
All right, we all hate losing, me especially, and I'm not alone in this because the tennis goat Serena Williams hates it too. Because in an article from BuzzFeed titled "Serena Williams Stopped a Press Conference and Left the Room in Tears After Questions and Rumors About Her Retirement" by Ben Henry. When asked if it was a farewell, Serena gave a wry laugh and added, "I don't know. If I ever say farewell, I wouldn't tell anyone." However, despite seeming in good spirits when she gave the answer, seconds later, Serena fought back tears and quickly put an end to the questions, tearfully saying, "I'm done." Look, my heart goes out to you, Serena, but I wouldn't count her out yet. I mean, just like Tom Brady, it seems like age is just a number because she is in peak physical shape at 39. So, Chris, who do you peg as the next one to step up and take over if Serena does retire?
How am I supposed to know that? I don't really follow too much of the women's tennis, just to be real with all the listening audience. But you know what I find a really fun debate that a lot of people talk about is who is the real GOAT of all sports? Is it Tom Brady or is it Serena Williams? What do you think, Marissa?
Of all sports? Like,
like who is the GOAT?
Who's the guy that played? Who's the guy? I'm just with Blake now. That just played all three sports. He did like basketball, football, and baseball. Who was he back in the 90s?
I know one of them was Deion Sanders. He played baseball and football. I'm blanking out, but I mean, if you're gonna do those two, I mean, you just had 7 Super Bowl wins with Tom Brady. Serena Williams has won over 43 titles, I believe. Like, that's insane.
If I had to pick between the two, I would go with Serena Williams. I think she's accomplished a lot. Also, like, I'm always gonna be down for a female to have it. But if she retires, look out for who beat her. Naomi Osaka. Kobe Bryant was her mentor. Right, the Mumba, like, she channels that energy. This young woman at 23 is going to revolutionize how we see women and tennis and women in sports, period.
Absolutely. And, I said 47. That's not correct. Serena Williams has the most Grand Slam titles of all time, and that's a total of 23 Grand Slam tournament victories. That's pretty insane. I don't know too many people that are going to pull off that milestone anytime soon in our generation. So that's really cool.
I predict we will see Serena Williams back to claim her 24th Grand Slam title in 2022.
In an article from AOL titled, "In Surprise Move, Facebook Blocks News Access in Australia," by Rod McGurwick. In a shocking retaliatory move on Thursday, Facebook blocked Australians from sharing news stories, escalating a fight with the government over whether tech companies should have to pay news organizations for content. So Australia's government condemned the step, which blocked some government communications, including messages about emergency services and some commercial pages.
This massive whack from Facebook in response to the proposed media bargaining laws that would see social media platforms pay Australian news outlets for content shared on their sites. But it's not the main game. I'll tell you why. The real game, Deputy Speaker, is that these big tech companies, as well as other multinationals, don't pay their fair share of tax to our nation. They offshore, they debt load on subsidiaries, they price transfer, all tricks to avoid paying their fair share of tax.
And, the thing is, listeners, if these tech giants can take the president of the United States off their platform, then no government in the world can stop them. So the Pandora's box has already been unleashed. And Marissa, should Americans continue to view Facebook as just a private company that can do what it likes? I mean, what's your thoughts?
It is a private company that can do what it likes. I mean, that's unfortunately the reality of the situation.
It cut off emergency communications in the whole country. Marissa.
Okay, if you are only getting your news from Facebook, that's a problem. Look, I'm not agreeing with the sense that Mark doesn't want to pay. I mean, actually, I do agree with the sense he doesn't want to pay stuff. Like, I understand that. But if you're only going to Facebook for your source, there is an issue. Okay, right here. And blaming him for that, I don't think that's fair. I think we are, though, seeing the death throes of Facebook. If I wasn't trying to be acting, doing the show with you, hustle bustle, doing all that stuff, I wouldn't be on Facebook. I don't like Facebook.
Well, most people don't. And I mean, my whole thing with this whole situation was I did find it a little alarming that the Australian government was asking to have to pay for content for journalists. I find that kind of strange, but the reason why they wanted to have journalism start getting paid to on their platform is Facebook only paid $580 million in Australian taxes. No, they made $580 million, but only paid $15 million in taxes. So that's 3 cents to the dollar, which is insane. So I know Prime Minister Scott Morrison lashed out on his own Facebook page, writing, "These actions will only confirm that the concerns that an increasing number of countries are expressing about the behavior of big tech companies who think they are bigger than governments and that the rules should not apply to them. They may be changing the world, but that doesn't mean they run it." Hey, what's good, listeners? This is Just Talking, and today, Marissa and I will dig deep into the past, taking a trip down memory lane as we revisit guest interviews from our first 8 seasons of the Chris College Show, Millennial Talk Show. So our very first one up on this day, October 12th, 2019, Marissa Pitts joins the show as my official co-host. Actually, I believe that was that 2019? It feels like it was like it must have been.
No, it's 2018.
2018. Why the hell do I have it on the note? See, that was a test for you because I wanted to see when you came on in.
2018.
2018 it was. That's how insane and how far back we've gone. And the reason why I chose this because this was our first in-studio interview at 22 West Radio was Jacob Tillman. He was an executive producer of De-Inked and winner of Best Documentary Film in 2018's Hollywood Independent Filmmaker Awards and Festivals on the development of laser tattoo removal technology. So I think this is the one thing that you kind of brought up a good point because it's like I always thought laser removal will completely take the tattoo out.
It can.
It can.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on what color it is.
Yeah.
That's the interesting point.
Black, it'll come off, no problem.
I never.
Yeah, it's where the inks live in your skin as well. Like black is actually closest to the top. That's why it is isolated and easy to go away the quickest. So, but something like white, it's a laser. So if you think of a color wheel, I have red in my rose. It would actually use a green laser to get rid of the red.
Oh, interesting.
So it's just, but white, it has nothing to reflect off of. So it literally has a hard time. Right now, they don't have a cure for that. So,
oh, that's very promising for all the tattoo guys. Yeah, you're not convincing me to get a tattoo.
I'm convincing you to cover up.
Which is, that's always so funny because, instead of reliving the pain of removing a tattoo again, co-host Marissa Pitts got a new piece of artwork on her leg during the pandemic, so she has provided us a photo. So obviously you don't mind having blue and green inks in your body, so I'm assuming your time under the scope of a laser is done.
Yeah, as I kind of said on that show, I actually keloid scar. So I did start doing some laser tattoo removal on my arm and it started scarring. Nothing to do with the doctor, just how I heal. So I had to stop and I was like, well, I guess I'm just going to be doing a lot of cover-ups. And the funny part is I'm adding white to my back tattoo.
Oh my God. Well, that was the big thing I remember Tillman said, about over 2+ years ago. He said most people get laser removal because they just want to use it for later on to cover up the tattoo. It's not to completely remove it, so which is pretty
tattoos are
shocking.
addicting. I mean, they're addicting. I'm going to continue to get more. I love them. What can I say?
And the cool thing about that too was right after that interview, Jacob Tillman gave me a free ticket and we went to go see Bullet for My Valentine. First time I met him. Then I met him later that day in Hollywood. We went to the Wiltern, saw Bullet for My Valentine, which was incredible. So shout out to you, man. I will never forget that. But moving on, with Black Lives Matter and the Summer of Love gaining an increasing amount of attention last summer, on July 3rd, 2020, co-founder of At the Wells Ministries, Bevelyn Beatty, joined Just Talking to disclose why she is against the Black Lives Matter movement and why America isn't experiencing a civil rights movement 2.0.
No matter what color they are, tell them the truth. If it's like, listen, I don't want to hang with you. It's not because you're black, but it's because you be stealing. I'm not interested. You're trifling. You don't take care of your kids. You don't do this. You don't do that. I don't want to roll with you. I mean, I feel like white people are so quick to want to defend themselves rather than tell the truth. They're going to find themselves just playing ping pong with the wall. Because at the end of the day, no matter how much you ping pong and try to defend yourself, if they hate you and they're racist because you're white, there's nothing you can say to change that. So at the end of the day, it's like, listen, if you cool and we got the same moral foundation, we rolling. But if you not, then I don't want to hang with you. I don't care if you black, blue, purple, or orange. To be black. Now I have a black bodysuit. I'm black, but my life and my soul and my identity is not in my color. Let's be real. You have certain people that are the same color as you that like to rape kids. They like to steal. They like to lie. Does that mean that we're brother and sister, we roll together? Our moralistic foundation is not the same. My brethren is based off of character. That's what the Bible says. My mother and brother.
So Bevelyn Beatty went on to become one of our most popular interviews today, and I have to give her a huge shout out because she was on the move. Like, she was like state to state driving around. She still kept to her word, and we had the interview, which was incredible because, again, it was one of our most popular interviews to date. And, you know, even though I didn't agree with everything Bevelyn said during that interview, I think that we could still have a conversation in 2020 and hopefully in the future, because to me, we're in the era of where the art of conversation is dead. So Marissa, what have you taken away from this interview?
So she was, to me, like my own personal beliefs, one of the most contentious guests we've had on here. And going through, like, you know, the homophobia is a huge issue with me, like huge issue. I can understand, you know, where some of her mindset is. It doesn't mean I agree with it. And I think what I took away the most from here is just being able to have someone who I don't believe with most of what she says and be able to still have a conversation. And that's how I learn. I listen to another side. I think about my background, where I'm coming from, my moral belief, and then I can either agree or disagree and move on. Right. And have that discussion, because if I only listen to people who are agreeing with me, then where is the debate? Where is the growth? Like, philosophers just sit there and disagree with each other and have an actual debate and grow out of that. So that was like how I grew up. I like that we can actually have guests on that we don't have to agree with and be able to have a substance conversation and still have our own opinion with the guests.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that fun joke that we always joke around in private. You know, it's like, what do you call a bunch of white people in a room together? A podcast, because then everybody would just be agreeing with each other 24/7. But you know what was kind of wild about this interview? Literally the next week after we just did the interview, Bevelyn Beatty goes on to go to Trump Tower in New York, and she was the woman who threw black paint all over the Black Lives Matter mural outside of Trump Tower. And last week, New York Attorney General just filed a civil lawsuit against Bevelyn Beatty, who threw
No
that
way.
paint. So
Not surprised.
Not surprised. She's in the news. So if you want to check out that interview, it's on our YouTube channel. On November 8th, 2019, Vox film critic and CCS contributor Alyssa Wilkinson made her first appearance on our Millennial Talk Show. And one of our favorite moments with Alyssa Wilkinson was her bold and correct prediction for the hottest film of 2019, before most people realized it would change Oscar history forever. So let's roll the clip.
Hold on, I'm getting it.
Melissa, I just want to get right on into it because I know that you're returning back onto the Chris Collins show from last time when we spoke in November about all these films out there. And I got to say, has there been any changes to your mind for the hottest movie of the year?
I honestly don't remember what I said in November, but I think the best one still for me is Parasite.
That's what you said.
Yeah.
You said it.
It's still the movie of the year in a lot of ways, I think.
So yeah, I mean, that's quite a bold prediction. I mean, especially when after that interview, Marissa, I remember I literally went to go search it up because I remember my buddy Joe DePac from the cast of Color.
Yeah.
He mentioned it to me via text, dude, you got to see this film. No, it's really that
It's
popping. I'm going,
fabulous.
dude, I pulled the basic, it's foreign film. I don't know if I want to read. Do I really want to be more focused on the bottom third of the
Okay,
screen?
For having a degree in film and television, can I
But
just
I'm
smack
just
you right
saying.
now?
No, I know, but I think that, it's like what we mentioned on the show. I think
Mm-hmm.
most millennials have gotten used to watching foreign films. I think when we
Yeah.
used to grow up, people used to dub English voices on top of Asian actors or Mexican
was
actors,
horrible.
whatever, and
Which
it
was
just
horrible.
throws you out of the whole vibe of what
Yeah.
the film's bringing, because then you can't feel those emotions or at least hear that tone coming out of their voice. So I thought that was kind of wild, but I did want to have some fun with you on this because
Okay.
we're excited to announce that Alyssa Wilkinson will be joining us next Friday, February 26th, for a forecast of the Golden Globes. And Marissa, do you have any predictions so far on what
Okay.
home
I
best
do. I
drama?
do. All right.
Okay.
So I think it's between two of the films that are gonna. That's why I'm debating on Mank and also Nomadland. I
haven't seen that one yet.
I have a feeling Nomadland is going to win. It's slow, peeps. And I feel like it's a movie made for old people because you thinking about life and your memories and it's slow, but it's well done. It's beautiful. For me as an older millennial, I can find the beauty in it because I am thinking back, here's my child growing, where's my life? But dude, if you're in the midst of your 25s and you want to I just want to go party, that one might be too slow. So we'll see. We'll see what Alyssa says.
Well, just looking at this list, most of them are pretty slow, other than I would say The Trial of Chicago 7. Honestly,
Whoa,
none of these
fabulous
films.
movie.
So it was The Father,
Fabulous.
Mank, Nomadland, Promising Young Woman, and The Trial
Funny.
of Chicago 7. Honestly, none of them would have been my best picture, in my opinion. I would have said The Five Bloods or either the new film that just got dropped, Judas and the Black Messiah.
Well, I haven't
Phenomenal
seen
film.
that yet. You told me that's
really good film. But if I'm looking down at this list, I would have to say it would be the Trial of Chicago 7, in my opinion.
All
That
right,
was the
let's
one.
find out what
I still
Alyssa
have to
says.
watch two of the ones that I haven't seen. So don't take my word just yet. Study up and see us next Friday. You'll know my final thought.
I was doing the little sound thing.
Oh, so you were blowing into the wind.
there it is. I was like, why aren't you shutting up?
So obviously our listeners love fairies, boobs, demons, giants, and an ensemble unlike anything that we've ever seen before. And on October 19th, 2018, Marissa Pitts and I had the honor to interview voiceover anime icon Erica Harlacher, not just once, but twice on the Chris Collins Show Millennial Talk Show. So here's one of our favorite moments with Erica Harlacher channeling in her blockbuster character, Princess Elizabeth, from Netflix's 7 Deadly Sins. I like that.
Hey,
Why don't
Arnie.
we have Marissa and
Yeah.
Erica do something fun? You're doing this kind of porno scene, and
Yeah.
Princess Elizabeth walks into something. She has no idea what's going on. Let's have
Well-
Marissa. Let's have you start first. Why don't you cue some music, Marissa?
Okay, let's get some music. I like the. It's Thanksgiving.
It's
It's Thanksgiving here.
it's a Thanksgiving
It's
stuffing.
Thanksgiving. So, when you want to stuff a turkey, all you have to do is get some butter,
Oh,
and you rub the butter all over the turkey skin so it's nice and oily.
oh, that's a very good tip. Thank you so much. Hang on, let me take some notes.
Oh.
Okay, so butter
Uh-huh,
and
butter.
what else?
And then you take the breadcrumbs and you grab a
Ooh.
fistful and you shove it all the way up there. Go ahead and try.
Okay, like this? Oh, that felt weird. I'm not sure
Oh,
about
a
this.
virgin summer.
We have a, who knew that Princess Elizabeth was a virgin this whole time? And then Arnie comes in and he's like, no, you're not supposed to use butter. You're supposed to use my own sweat. That's how you make the stuffing of turkey. Was that a good one? That's all I
That was
got.
good. That was good.
Very good.
Oh, okay. I just got approval from Erica Harlacher. My dreams have come
Poor
true.
Erica was like, okay, this is derailing.
You know what, Marissa? You try to get rid of my approval of Erica Harlacher right there. Why would you do that? Everybody knows
so-
my dream.
So I felt so bad for Erica in this sense. I actually had to reach out to her because, like, so my go-to, I didn't realize you're gonna make me do like a voice impression. If I could have, I could like done like the Valley Girl. I mean, there's like so many different things. Like I could do Russian. I mean, there's so many stuff I could do, right? But my go-to when I'm on the spot is always sexual. I don't know why. That's how I improv. My improv is sexual.
Well, maybe,
So, poor Erica.
maybe pretty soon you might be starting an OnlyFans account because it's not just for nudies. Maybe you could
That
do
is
some
true.
ASMR, and maybe you can.
I loved
learn a few from
Erica.
Erica.
Because the thing about Erica is she is game. She's great. But now that she's working with Disney, as we all know with The Mandalorian and
Yep, that's right.
people getting cut, she has to be really uber careful with how she's being perceived. And this poor, so she rolled it, but she was like, uh-oh, we're derailing. It's going sexual. What's happening?
Hey, listen, you know, if you're going to be a part of a show called Seven Deadly Sins and know the kind of themes that are in that show, you got to kind of expect some of that to be coming
Yes,
your
Seven
way.
Deadly Sins was definitely not Disney approved.
Definitely not. So we know that Erica Harlacher's got a bunch of projects in the future, so definitely look for our 2 episodes with her live on our YouTube channel. But check this out. On October 23rd, 2020, Marissa and I hosted a jam-packed special premiere of the Millennial Vote 2020, discussing a variety of millennial issues ranging from affordable healthcare, student loan debt, education reform, affordable housing, law and order, and term limits. The episode had over 24,000 views. So that's amazing. So shout out to you, the active listeners tuning on in, because if you missed it, here's a snippet of one of the many guests during the Millennial Vote 2020. So here is Bitcoin billionaire and 2020 independent presidential candidate Brock Pierce with Washington Examiner journalist Eddie Scarry speaking on how millennials are the sleeping giants of this world. And what should they be thinking about voting this November 3rd? Brock, let's start with you.
Well, first of all, remember to vote. Remember to vote. That is your civil duty. It is your civil responsibility. 50% of the population of the planet is under the age of 35. The youth of this country are the sleeping giant. And when they wake up and they're ready for change, we're going to get it. Remember to vote. Remember to vote your conscience. And Eddie, I'd like to invite you, if you're in Washington, D.C., I will be there on election night at my new house. If you'd like to join us, please do so on November 3rd.
Very cool. I like that. Hey, Eddie, so 30 seconds. What do you want to leave for the millennial audience voting on November 3rd?
Well, yes, I would definitely like to join you. That would be fun. And I appreciated so much of what you had to say. The one major disagreement I have is if you are not voting for Trump, do not remember to vote. Do not go out and vote. That is why my book is Grow Up and Vote for Trump. Why 2020 is your last chance to become an adult. I lay it all out. Again, you may not like the way the president tweets, the way he talks. You may not want him as your Thanksgiving dinner guest. But growing up, it means voting for Trump because it's your future, it's your safety, it's your 401k, it's your children, and that's what you got to do.
Well, so Eddie, on that note, if you're not going to vote for Trump, you could conceivably say, well, then you should vote for Brock, and a vote for Brock is a vote for our future. No?
Okay, fine.
You guys are too nice.
So much.
Well, I want to thank you again, Brock Pierce, for joining the Chris Collins Show, and Eddie Scarry as well. And much success for you guys moving forward. Thank you again for joining the Millennial Talk Show. I mean, those two guys, they're great. And we got lucky to actually have them on for season 8 this season.
Okay.
So that was really cool. So please check that out. It's on our YouTube channel. They are phenomenal guys.
Just real quickly, Eddie Scarry. If you guys don't follow him on Twitter, I recommend it. I don't agree with probably half the stuff he says, but he is so witty. His sarcasm is so spot on that I just chuckle and laugh on a lot of his stuff. Like he slays me.
Well, obviously, millennials, including Gen Z, must have heard Brock Pierce's message because before the November election, young eligible voters turned out at a higher rate than 2016, playing a key role in tight races. So that is very cool. And also, Joe Biden should give some praise to millennials and Gen Z because they're one of the very core people that brought this newly elected president into the White House, which is pretty awesome. So here we go. On February 21st, 2020, fossil excavator Harrison Duran joined the show to enlighten everyone on the importance of paleontology and its effect throughout the science community. And who knew our entire childhood had been a lie? And when it came to the interpretation of the prehistoric beast, and yes, Jurassic Park is to blame for all of this. So let's give it a listen now.
Are you on the side that
Or are they
dinosaurs are colorful? 'Cause I
But
need
then
to
I hear
know
that
which
they're
one is it?
feathery too.
And are
What
they
is
feathery?
it?
What is a dinosaur?
Yes. I think the early part of the 20th century, they were perceived as, or just similarly to reptiles today, right? Cold-blooded, slow-moving, lumbering. And more evidence has come out where we found out that they are social. They were most likely warm-blooded. Birds are the most common descendants, and they were probably vibrantly colored. In some specimens, we could actually tell the color of the dinosaur.
Which is pretty insane. And, Marissa, I was thinking about this when I was looking back at all the old clips, especially with Harrison Duran. Obviously, we know that the third film in the series, Jurassic World, is going to be dropping next year, I assume, unless they keep delaying these blockbuster films. But do you think that they will correct their mistakes for the third film and we might be surprised at what we see on the big screen?
Okay, I don't think they'll correct their mistakes. They have to rewrite
right.
all of the Jurassic.
I think I'm with you on
What
that
I do
one.
hope that they do focus on is dinosaurs' buttholes. Because we
Yeah, you're still
that
on
they
that.
do everything with their butthole. They give birth, they have sex with it, they poop with it. I want a little bit of a dinosaur butthole in our new Jurassic Park.
Well, maybe Goldman might actually get dumped on this time around instead of actually being on the outside of the turd. So we still have plenty of time. But that is so cool. And, Harrison Duran, he's continuing to do his thing. So huge shout out. Check that episode out on our YouTube channel now. Also, we did want to do this during the last minutes of Just Talking because we used to do a thing called Off Mic Monday, which is so groovy because it used to be a series featuring clips of random thoughts, lost causes, and behind the scenes moments inside a studio, not remotely.
This is the part I missed the most about not being able to be in the same room with
I know.
you. Is our off mic shenanigans and then grabbing a beer after.
Right. Go run over, go grab a beer, celebrate the success of the show, and huge shout out. So let's have some fun with this. Let's take a look back at some of the best moments from Off Mic Monday.
What's this thing, Bob?
That's your butt plug.
That. Well, it seems like it fits.
Every Fridays from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Because if you want to see me do your every time,
I need another pillow.
you're gonna want to join. That was a lot of a hierarchy. Yeah, you had a problem. No, you had a problem with this issue, right? Why wouldn't it be wet?
Water's not wet.
Why?
In order for it to be wet, it means you gotta be able to dry it. You can't dry water.
But doesn't it evaporate?
What about dry ice?
Evaporating isn't drying.
So what about
So
dry
when I put my
ice?
hand in a bucket of water,
Yeah, and then it
Then your
comes out.
arm is wet.
Isn't it wet?
but
Your arm is
but
wet.
How does my arm become wet? For what reason is it wet? Because of the water mix.
Because water is a liquid. You can get it. You can
So
get
it's
it
wet.
with
I'm going with
liquid,
Marcus.
but
I'll go with Marcus
liquid
on this
isn't
one.
wet. In order for it to be wet, you gotta dry it.
No, and I can dry water.
You can't dry
Yes, I
water.
can.
Yeah, that's a mic check.
Mic check. Mic check.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. If you like what you're hearing, go to chriscollinsshow.com or click the left
I think the link's that way.
Yeah.
that way.
We're dealing with
Amateur, not amateur. They run away.
It's like
But then they're
kindergartners.
little and
I
you
could
know what I
destroy
heard of.
100 kindergartners. Or you give me 100 kindergartners right now, I will level them.
I can't be.
I will.
You will not survive the
You have
apocalypse,
obviously not
sir.
watched Pokemon. Why do you think that's
You
going to
do
be
not
the
watch
apocalypse? We have a virus that's spreading across the world like pancakes, and you're worried about ducks?
And I was like, yeah, I think I'm done here. And I just left. My eyeballs!
Yeah,
my eyeballs
what
are
the hell is
burning.
wrong with you?
Wasabi fumes. hurt.
That's what I thought you were saying. That's funny that you said. I thought you were saying sit up, and then because you were looking at me doing that, and then you looked at Marissa going, and I went, "What the? Is this a choir?"
I just laugh, because especially when I watch the clip where it's like, I would level out 100 kindergartners. I'm wondering, what the hell were we talking about after that? Where he looks at you and goes, "You're worried about ducks while we're in the middle of a virus?" It's kind of sad that we have a clip from a year ago talking about this pandemic. So hopefully things start to change in the horizon of 2021. But we got to move on. We got more left of the Chris Collins Show, Millennial Talk Show. What's good, listeners? This is Strike a Chord, and today Marissa and I will revisit memories from guest interviews from our first 8 seasons of the Chris Collins Show, Millennial Talk Show. So let's get right on into it. On this day, March 29th, 2019, rising star Lily Joy joined the show to discuss her massive success from The Voice at just 15 years old. So here's Lily Joy discussing her excitement of country artist Blake Shelton buzzing the pop sensation in to be a contestant for Team Blake.
How cool is it to like be able to get, some feedback from Blake Shelton?
Oh.
And like what was kind of like, the
Oh
musical
my God.
like what was like some of the things like he gave to you or like some advice?
Real fast, first off, when he hit the button and turned around, I was like, you had better hit that button.
No idea. You have no idea.
And how the heck did he not know that was Gwen Stefani?
Oh, he knew.
He definitely knew.
You think so?
It was funny because people were like, how did he not know? Like
he knew.
I was tripping.
He definitely
Nobody
knew.
else
Yeah,
hit
no,
and nobody else hit the button, not because they didn't want you, but they knew that it was Blake's.
Yes.
Blake's was yours.
Yes.
And they weren't gonna
Exactly.
they weren't gonna fight it. I saw that because I know they wanted to hit the button and they were like, no, I can't. I
Exactly.
can't.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, like when I went in there, I was like, oh, John Legend. Yeah, I think I'm gonna end up on John Legend's team. Like, no. And I always like in my back of my mind, like, Blake, no, I'm not gonna be on Blake's team. Like, whatever. And then I get up there and I'm like, oh, I'm on Blake's team now. Whoa. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Okay. Whoa. I'm like, okay.
I do always kind of laugh at that because she was so real in that interview about like how she felt, and I just love like when I look at her earrings, Marissa, they remind me of like GameCube CDs. So I always thought they were pretty groovy when I checked her out.
She's
but
a
like
great person.
again,
She really
like
is.
I still feel like it's all for the show, especially with these big primetime shows like The Voice. I mean, obviously, as she expressed on the show, she really wanted to be with John Legend, and she goes even deeper into the interview about how, these producers, they'll slowly start hinting, well, what do you think about Blake? And obviously, it seems like the producers sort of picked the team. So sorry to burst a bubble. We found that out from a 15-year-old. So if you need a reliable source, Lily Joy's the person. She's a phenomenal artist, and we've been lucky to have her on for multiple interviews now. So go ahead and check her out. On this day, October 18th, 2019, singer-songwriter Justin Bernardes was in the studio talking about his latest EP, Proof. 1 year later, Justin Bernardes has become an internet sensation overnight with his series of ad-libs, racking in a following of 1 million plus followers on TikTok. So here's Justin Bernardes in the studio before his rise to fame on TikTok.
And has there been anything like the worst embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you on stage where you just had to play it cool?
No, thankfully, I actually don't have a single embarrassing moment that's happened.
Okay, how about off stage?
Oh,
Ooh.
man.
Yeah, there's got to be some fans that just come crowding over you. I mean, they see the nice big chain.
Yeah,
They're
I
like,
mean,
well, what's good, Justin?
One time I was walking to the green room and a fan just like touched my hair, but I didn't know who touched my hair.
I heard that's like a big no-no for like black people. Like,
yeah,
you just
yeah.
don't touch
yeah,
their
it's like,
hair.
no, it's terrifying.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, white people
It's
are always like, hey.
Oh, it's like the Holy Grail.
Oh, yeah,
your
I'll be like,
hair
don't
is
touch
soft.
it. Literally.
Like you dread.
But it is soft, so I'm like, all right,
is.
fine,
Yeah, I mean,
fine.
I think
I
we can
love
figure that out without having to
Yeah.
touch it. And it's like a weird personal space that like people just don't know the fine line.
No,
It's like-
honestly, it happens.
I mean, at
So,
least
Eric,
I'm
listeners
just,
out there, when you meet Justin, please don't touch
yeah,
his
don't
hair.
touch his hair.
Don't
I
touch
mean,
the
that's not
hair.
cool. You can take a picture with them, and
Right.
everything,
You can
but
touch the booty.
just-
but
Right.
not the-
Not-
oh, no, the booty?
No.
Oh, sorry.
You
I won't
can't be
touch your
playing
booty,
around
lady.
like that.
What's good, listeners? I'm the host of the Chris Collins Show, and if you like what you
Oh, that's
see, hit
funny.
the subscribe
Look at that
button
old logo.
below,
That's the
and check
reason
us
why I
out at
put that up there.
thechriscollinsshow.com. Peace.
You see that? You see that old logo? Like, it's so, I love seeing that because you could just see, obviously, this beautiful work that our artistic director, Jody Mahler, the king of everything, I think.
Yeah,
That's why we
he's
call
pretty-
him
he's pretty
Kratos for a
amazing.
reason. But no, the thing that I always laugh about that interview was for the very first time, do you remember when he was describing how he got the chain?
Oh yeah,
When
I
he
do.
went to Home Depot and he's like, yeah,
Made
can
his own.
you just wrap this chain around me?
And he just made a song and it played on 92.3.
That's right.
And it's fabulous. Please check out his first single ever. This guy is also going to be on our radio. We're going to be hearing a lot from Justin Bernardez. Like,
It's so true. And he's one of the most down to earth artists that I've ever interviewed on Strike a Chord. And his TikTok fame hasn't changed the man from being himself. So I think that is so cool. So on this day, October 9th, 2020, vocalist and guitarist Omar Feliciano from the Phoenix Within joined Strike a Chord to show us that you can be a musician, but continue to learn every day. Like writing a chord of books that you don't even know music theory to. So check this out. This is really, really funny.
Hold on. I'm getting there.
There you go, fam.
Here we are.
Yo, what's up with the biz, yo? But we're beyond stoked to have you on the Strike a Chord because, really what this whole segment is all about is bringing the listening audience brand new music. If you actually physically or digitally pick up that record, you're going to know these tracks. And
This year I wrote and published my first book ever.
wow.
I had to go back and listen to all the songs, and that was an experience for me because I had to relearn songs that I don't perform anymore. And this particular album is fully acoustic, and now I'm fully, I'm a full band now. So I was like, I'm going to write a chord book. And it was the first thing ever, when COVID first started, I was like, this is what I'm going to put my energy to. So in this case, I had to go back and listen to my shit.
I love that. I mean, that's so fascinating. I mean, you just said some of your old band members are huge fans of Lamb of God. I mean, I was just listening to Mark Morton when they were getting ready for their live stream for Ashes of the Wake, the 15th year or 16th year anniversary. They were like, dude, I had no idea how to play our old music, and thank the Lord for our fans on ultimateguitar.com where we can tab to our music. Isn't that pretty fascinating how there's such diehard groups? And I think that's cool that you're getting into that world because let me ask you this. I mean, do you know music theory?
I don't, but I'll tell you this.
But you wrote a chord book?
And that's what really sparked it. So I work in a college. So I have a bachelor's now in biology, and I work for the biology department at York College. Shout out.
No way. In biology?
Yeah.
You guys to write a book? Biology?
I know. Who are you? I mean, I think you are Superman.
I sat at home and got fat. Like, that's all I did in COVID. I wasn't writing no books.
So, I mean, obviously, Marissa, as a musician who's self-taught, it's so true what Omar is saying. And I've learned to play music by ear or learn to read guitar tabs. And I know, like, the basic idea of reading notes, but I couldn't follow along with an orchestra. So,
Okay,
let's
so
be real.
I bought his book because I want to learn to play the guitar. I have an acoustic that was my grandpa's, and I was like, oh, perfect. I opened this up and I was like, what the F am I looking at? Because I'm used to reading like music for like a piano or like singing. You know what I mean? I was like, what the F? Like,
You're like, what are these 6 lines and what are all these numbers? Am I reading Morse code? It's like, no, guitar tabs, it tells you where to put your finger on the fretboard. So that's really the coolest thing about it.
You have to know the fretboard though. Like you have to also know the fretboard.
Well, it's not that hard. Obviously at the top it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay,
You
well, I
just
didn't
kinda
know
keep
this. I
counting
didn't
down.
know this stuff.
Well,
okay.
obviously, this is what I want the listeners to walk away from. Hold out before you close me out. I want, no,
No, seriously, listeners, if there's anything you walk away from this, there's still time to try something new and learn to play a new instrument during your time in lockdown. So, Marissa, now I'm ready. You can hit me with the swish. On this day, October 30th, 2020, rocking with us all the way from Manila, Philippines, was Tiana Kutcher, who woke up for her first college course of the day at midnight. I don't know too many people who are that ambitious like her, but here is Tiana Kutcher calling for Apple and Spotify to respect the independent artist. I get very concerned with the future of new artists in this decade. And when I say that, I say, do you find audio streaming services such as Apple Music and Spotify doing enough to support the artist?
No, and I was just talking to a couple friends about it, and there's actually this thing going on Instagram where a lot of artists are reposting this like picture where it says to ask Spotify to make every stream be worth a penny.
At least.
Yeah.
At least.
At least. And so, you know, obviously this whole artist supporting artists thing is great, and ever since the pandemic, like, you know, we've come together, but I just really wish that these like major platforms just really realized what's in it for independent artists, because not all of us have a big label backing.
I mean, it's so true, Marissa, and I wanted the listeners to hear me out on this, because Goldman Sachs released a report on May 14, 2020, predicting in the year 2030 that the music industry will see its revenue double from $77 billion to $144 billion. So, listeners, I think that we can all agree, and Marissa, that pay the artists their fair share of the pie. So what's your thoughts on this?
Well, I mean, it used to be, well, look, the internet streaming was building your fan base who will then go to your concerts, buy your merch, and that's how you made money. Well, with COVID, that killed that industry. So you even have people who are big names now really rethinking how they're getting compensated for having their music downloadable and what that means. And it needs to happen. I mean, like, I don't mind buying a digital album. I don't mind paying that penny that if it goes to the artist, you know, and then like, that's kind of my think on it. We need to help out.
No, it's true. I mean, even when concerts do come back, yeah, you're going to see on merch tables the typical CD bundles and etc. But LPs have now outpaced CDs. It's because no one's actually using CDs anymore in your car, because hopefully you're not driving a Ford Explorer like myself and only have a CD. Most people have the luxury of maybe sticking a Bluetooth speaker in the back of your car and then just start streaming from your phone.
I only buy CDs if it's like my friends' bands to help support.
That's
like
true.
My ex just dropped a brand new album, Car Bombs in Babylon, One Way System. You know, I mean, I got the CD and like, you know, it's there. I have it, but I'm a digital person. I like to download my music.
It's true. I mean, that is the future. Obviously, we're going to see people go there. So I think it's fair to say Tiana Kutcher's onto something. 1 penny a stream, I think, is very fair to the artist. So on this day, July 10th, 2020, from across the pond, UK singer Paige Cavell joined Strike a Chord, sharing her voice about the impact COVID-19 has had on musicians thriving to play live music in the United Kingdom. So here's the clip right about now.
And I love asking this question right now, because how far would you go to start playing live music again? That's a hard no, I'm seeing.
It's just, it's difficult. I think, first of all, I feel we don't fully know the full story behind this virus yet. And I think, you know, my family and I, we're still taking social distancing quite seriously, wearing masks when we go out to the shops, etc. And obviously, lots of people have lost their lives to this virus. So it's pretty serious. But at the same time, obviously, I'd love to perform live. And I think if it gets to that point where we can safely do so, maybe an outside venue, and they manage to split it off in certain ways, then, you know, I'd be down for it. But I think for right now, it still seems a bit uncertain. But I saw one of a girl I met at a summer camp in LA, Berkeley. She has just started doing drive-through concerts in LA.
Wow.
And I'm like, that is the best idea.
Well, it might. Oh, here, I gotta turn my video on. Here we go. But it might feel like it's the best idea. It might feel like the only option, because I know if you're in New York and you want Governor Cuomo to invite you to one of these pop-up events, well, good luck, because you're gonna need to be a Chris Rock or Amy Schumer to even be able to hit that main stage. So you might have to pull the wings, Paige Cavell, and get yourself a van and drive across the country. Maybe stop by and play at the most hottest venue.
Well, now with
maybe the Stonehenge, right?
But now with the Brexit deal, musicians and artists in the UK are trying to refigure this out, because they're being taxed if they're coming over to do music. They can't have their instruments if they're trying to do it like under the radar. It's now expensive. It is no longer a free for all in the EU because of Brexit. So interested to see what happens when we bring her back on the show next year.
That's so true. And also, it's been officially now, Marissa, one full year. I saw Machine Head live out at the House of Blues of Anaheim. Do you remember your last show that you went to? It's been one full year for me. I saw it in I think the day after Valentine's.
I think honestly, I think I saw my friend's band Badass that we had on.
Oh yeah,
that
awesome
was
group.
The last one. It was in a bar out in LA. And I think that was the last one. I think I drank. I sang along to some of their little fun little pops, hang out with some friends.
You know what? This is the sad part. You got a brain fuzz about your last time going to a concert.
That long.
And I don't like that, because it has been that long. That is so sad. And hopefully we get that that feeling of feeling the bass hit your chest, and then we can all join in together and do a kumbaya. All right, I gotta move on. But I love this, because on this day, May 29th, 2020, the Blowies brought the absurd to absurdity, premiering their brand new single, CDC, and informing our listeners how the punk duo formed a band between mini sex dolls. Roll the clip, Marissa.
We play in another project together, which is not a political band, and we were on the road, and we ended up staying at this guy's place in West Texas. Was West Texas?
So it was like out in Beaumont.
Oh, East Texas. Is East Texas, right?
In
Towards
Beaumont,
Louisiana.
Yeah, East Texas.
Yeah. And they put us up for the night, and we got to the guy's place, and he just had all sorts of sex doll memorabilia all over the house.
Wow.
Including a blow-up doll in an American flag, like Rocky style boxers, in one of the beds we were staying.
I love that. That would creep the hell out of me. I mean, how rock and roll is that? I mean, literally, their name. I think they're just honest people, right?
I think they were our first music strike a chord guests when we went onto the bunker, weren't they? Because look at our background. Our background's like no green screen. I got some weird wallpaper happening. You're in like this banner.
No, I know, right? I put the banner, inside my studio. I'm on a MacBook 2011, but obviously we found out real quick within the first months, like, man, the camera quality is so bad. Then I got an awesome team within the CCS family hooking me up, so I'm able to set up a camcorder. Now I look so beautiful today. Now you can see the nice shiny glow in the waves of my hair. But I just love taking a look back at those clips, Marissa, because truly this wasn't easy for us to have to make this adjustment, especially going remote. It's a lot different vibe when you're not able to, because obviously you got to leave room for people to speak, and we don't want to be stacking on top of each other, and we don't have that luxury in an in-studio house to be able to kind of monitor the levels and etc. So this was such a learning curve for all of us, but I think it's only enhanced what we've always wanted to do with the Chris Collins Show, and that is being a video on-air production. So we're very excited for the future, and I know you wanted to say something.
I do. So I don't want to jump on your tongue.
Yeah.
That came out weird. Anyway, no, but I want to say the beautiful part about going online strictly is we've been able to reach out to guests around the world and have that experience where when we were in the radio show, that was only a little bit happening. We were doing Skyping people in, there was a phone call, but we didn't really have that, like, okay, this reached out worldwide. And I think this has been my favorite part about the Bunker Edition
It's
is we
so
are
true.
worldwide now.
And they were one of our more popular Strike a Chord interviews to date on the Chris Collins Show, Millennial Talk Show. And I know Marissa and I were very excited to announce that the Blowies will be our inaugural guest for our brand new podcast series called Off the Fret. More music talk, scheduled to launch next month. So take a look out for that. I sounded like a skipping record, but here we go. This is Chris Collins. All right, this is what's good, because if you go on channels 2 through 11, there's so much negativity online and on your tele 24/7. So Marissa and I, we find the most positive inside scoop that you need to know this week. So yesterday, February 18th, the largest, most advanced rover NASA has sent to another world touchdown on Mars, which is insane because after a 203-day journey traversing 293 million miles, I can't even think, is the globe even that long, Marissa? I have no idea. 293 million miles? Like, that's really far. Like, that's far. Okay.
It's far,
well,
but our globe
at least
is longer than
Marissa's the
that.
one that's smarter than me on this point. But just imagine going straight for 293 million miles. That's insane. But the confirmation of the successful touchdown was announced in Mission Control at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Southern California at 12:55 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Packed with groundbreaking technology, the Mars 2020 mission launched on July 30th, 2020, marking an ambitious first step in the effort to collect Mars samples and return them to Earth. So, Marissa, I know that you're very excited about this landing. And do you have faith that NASA will find microorbital life on Mars?
Okay, not only do I have faith that they are gonna find it, they're gonna show that there was water on Mars. Yes, they're gonna find out there was water on Mars. We already know that. They're gonna find the microorganisms. Gonna have there was life on Mars. What I am interested in knowing, are they gonna find out that we came from Mars, destroyed our Mars planet, flew to Earth, right? And then because like it's been like, you know, millions of years, forgot that we came from Mars, right? I just need to know, like, where do we come from?
You know, I know that we want to keep the positive vibes, and I know you mentioned water, but I have to always laugh about this because I know they get so obsessed with like the tier. Oh, you're jumping to this already. Okay, let's talk about this. The reason we're showing this is an illustration of what this brand new rover, Perseverance, has attached to it. So this is a miniature Mars helicopter that NASA will attempt to become the first powered controlled flight on another planet. That is kind of wild. So when you're driving around going to Big Five and you get that $40 drone, maybe you might be NASA's brand new helicopter
I want to be
pilot.
the astronaut that flies the drone.
But you know what's kind of crazy about it is,
what?
Like, how do they know how that flies? Because when I was watching it yesterday, they didn't. It took them 11 minutes to confirm that the rover actually touched down on Mars. So imagine the delay of flying that bad boy. That's kind of insane.
I mean, it's a very skilled person flying that rover, along with like probably a team of them.
Right.
And the pressure on that. Don't crash. Don't you crash. Don't you do it. It's pretty intense, but it's awesome.
It's so true. And according to NASA, the rover will characterize the planet's geology and past climate and be the first mission to collect and cache Martian rock, paving the way for human exploration of the red planet. And I want to give a huge shout out to my active listeners. Believe me, like Marissa and I, we cannot thank you enough because this show wouldn't be possible without you. And also our many interns who have joined on to the CCS family, because honestly, making this transition of a move, Marissa, going remotely, not seeing your face, maybe that's actually a good idea, because I know you wanted to touch Justin Bernardes's booty. Maybe
I'm all about booty touching. I have to be careful. I'm going to get sued for sexual harassment because I'm like, oh, you got a nice booty?
So we're gonna have to keep you in quarantine and keep everybody out the door. But I do want to let everybody know that we're excited to announce that Vox film critic and CCS contributor Alyssa Wilkinson will be joining us next Friday to forecast the best films nominated at the Golden Globes this year. And if you like what you're listening to, go to thechriscollinsshow.com and become a member today and get that free CCS t-shirt. Much love, fam. I'll see you around next week. Peace. Our brand new podcast, Off the Fret.
I love it. It's more time to chat.
Hello.
You would look
Can you
so
hear me?
jazzy. I love your outfit. How far would you go to start playing live music again? This slaps harder than my ex when she got her stimulus check. So, are you here to bring the sexual healing with your music? It's called Everything is Everything, and I guarantee you're going to hear this song in the future. I love the flow, man. Politically charged album. So if you get easily offended, this might not be the album for you. Brand new podcast, Off the Fret.
So excited.
Has Kim Kardashian accidentally sent you a coochie shot?
Do you want to stay there? It's completely your choice. Or you want to...
I feel you. And you know what? I love it. Off the Fret. More music talk. Peace.